Good evening and welcome to News 12 at 8. My name is Craig and today we'll be discussing diseases, specifically smallpox and AIDS. Now we'll go down to our reporter Tommy with more news.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Talks with Tommy, my weekly news segment. Today we have a very special guest, Matthew. Matthew used to be our lead anchor on Channel 12 before he contracted the HIV virus and was unable to continue working. But Matthew's agreed to do one more show with me to make the public aware about the dangers of the HIV virus.
Well, some background, it can be contracted through childbirth, the sharing of needles, or sexual intercourse. And through the right medication, some activities for me in my daily life has stayed the same. However, the biggest impact what AIDS can do is reduce the number of C cells I have, and C cells are used to fight everyday diseases, and so now I've become far more susceptible to those diseases and they could become fatal.
Well, that just sounds awful. So, just to be clear, you are able to continue most of your everyday life?
Yes, with the right medication, I have been able to.
That's great to hear. Are you able to continue your exercise daily? Are you able to keep in good shape?
Yes, somewhat. And another important thing to note is that AIDS cannot be transmitted through saliva or through physical touch if there are no open sores or cuts. You should really just be treating people with HIV or AIDS as a normal person, as you would anyone else.
Well, that's great. Back to you, Craig.
Thanks, Tommy. Now for our next segment, we'll look at the effect of smallpox in the 16th century. Back to you, Tommy.
Hear thee, hear thee. A new plague from God has arisen. Everyone must run inside and lock your doors. God has sent this new disease around us. Boils across everyone's skin. Lock your doors. Hide from the neighbor. Run. Run. This new plague is among us. Even though early on the town crier was able to alert the people to the dangers of the disease, due to many families' long traditions of living on their family land, they were simply unable to leave their land, and they had to stay where they were, even though they knew the dangers of the disease.
It was just any other day. Me and my family working on our farm. Then it begun. My wife, she began to feel weak, so didn't think much of it. But then the rash began. It spread all over her body. I prayed to the Lord. I asked why. I looked for forgiveness. I looked for it to stop. There was nothing I could do. It spread to my children. They're falling very ill, and I fear they will not make it. And I fear I am next.
Thanks, Tommy. Now to look at the historical side of things, we'll go down to Matt. What do you have to say, Matt?
Smallpox was not a result of God's punishment, but was caused by a virus called variola major, and it killed 30% of those who got it. Smallpox played a large part in the killing of mass numbers of Native Americans when the Europeans first arrived in America. Symptoms include headaches, fatigue, fever, and red bumps all over the infected person's body. Luckily, a vaccine was created using the virus vaccinia, and if taken within 4 days of getting the virus, you can be cured. And with the use of this vaccine, the virus was considered eradicated in 1979.
There are over 1.2 million Americans who have HIV or AIDS. And 1 out of 8 of those people aren't aware that they have HIV or AIDS. One of the reasons HIV is hard to detect is because after receiving the disease, it may lay dormant for between 5 and 7 years in a person's body before symptoms start to emerge. The average life expectancy of someone with HIV or AIDS is about 43 years. And the average T cell count of an average American is between 500 and 1200. and someone with HIV or AIDS can often have less than 300 and even sometimes less than 200. Back to you, Craig.
Okay, thanks. Now let's go back to Matt and Tommy to look at the similarities and differences between smallpox and AIDS.
AIDS, or acquired immune deficiency syndrome, and smallpox are thought to be very different diseases due to their different symptoms. However, they're actually somewhat similar. Both are caused by viruses. AIDS is caused by HIV, or human immunodeficiency virus, and smallpox is caused by variola major. Before new medication, 30% of those with smallpox would die, and the average life expectancy of someone with AIDS was 43. Now smallpox has been eradicated, and people on an AIDS medical plan have a near full life expectancy. The differences in the two are in the symptoms. AIDS, as we said before, reduces the ability of one's immune system, causing them to be more susceptible to common colds and flus. And smallpox symptoms include fever, fatigue, aches, and a rash all over their body.
That's all for me. See you next time at Channel 12 News.